This video is all about how to get out of a rut when you really just do not feel like working in your bookkeeping business. I shared earlier this month that the summer was kind of a struggle for me. I really could just not get myself to open up my computer and do any work. So here are some things that helped me out. Number one, have low expectations of yourself. And I know this might be counterintuitive, but as much as you can, manage your own expectations about how much work you're able to complete. So if you're making a plan, which I'm going to talk about later, on day one, just get one thing done. Maybe just answer one email, depending on how much bandwidth you have. Start very slow. So then maybe day two, you can do a slightly harder task and then continue on from there. Number two is make a visual list. So this is a list I made of videos that I needed to make this week, and I hung it on my fridge. I wrote it in really big letters, and I made myself really big check boxes. Every time I film one of these videos, I check it off with a big X. This not only is a visual reminder for me, but it's also a bit of accountability because the other people in my family know that these are my goals. My husband can come home and be like, oh, did you film that video today? I am definitely a visual person, so this helps me out a lot. My third tip I called just start, and let me explain this. So sometimes I actually trick myself into starting my work. So for example, if I need to sit down at my computer, I will go to my computer for a different reason. Maybe I need to buy something on Amazon, or maybe I need to look up Airbnbs for a vacation that is coming up. So a task that my brain thinks is more fun will get me to the computer and get me sitting down and working, I guess I should say. And then once I'm already there at the computer, it's not that much harder to just open my work email, see what's going on at work. So there's this pattern I've learned about that is action, then inspiration, then motivation. So action and motivation are kind of linked, right? So instead of waiting for that motivation to make you do some stuff, just do one thing, and that might spark a tiny bit of motivation from you, and then you can kind of carry that little tiny spark onto a little more action. So you can kind of see how those things are related and then play off each other. So just get started. I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up if you're excited to hear the rest of these ideas. My name's Morgan, my website is FinePoints.biz, and I just came out with a new free masterclass. It's all about how I got my first 3 bookkeeping clients. So if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or intimidated about getting those bookkeeping clients, definitely check that out. The link is in the description box and it's totally free. All right, my next tip is to organize. So this is a fairly intuitive step that you probably hear about and you know about, but it is very essential in my opinion. So I have 3 steps to get organized. First is a brain dump. So every single thing that's stressing me out in my brain goes on a piece of paper. Actually, I now use a Word document, and I break it up into sections. So I have a work section, a household section, usually a computer section, like finances and paying bills section, and then maybe a kids section. And then I take my top priorities from the to-do list and I map them out Monday through Friday on my week. So if I need to do things for a certain client, maybe I put that on a Wednesday. If I need to have a meeting with someone, I schedule that on Tuesday. So I start just laying the things out. And as part of that, I'm prioritizing what do I not really need to do this week? What can I put off till next week? And then my third step is to use my block schedule planner to plan just the next day. So this is where I write down in 3-hour chunks, 3-hour blocks. What am I doing? So maybe the morning is my work time, and then I usually choose a 3-item to-do list. So what 3 items do I want to do during my work time? And don't forget, from step number 1, make sure you're really clear and manage expectations and set yourself up for success. If you just need to have one task to do the following day, that is totally fine. That is going to very slowly help you get out of that rut. My next tip is to write a resistance map. So this one I heard about from Michelle B. She has a YouTube channel. I'll link this video down below. Basically, it's get a piece of paper and write what is stopping you from doing these tasks, stopping you from taking action. So I was feeling resistance to doing my QuickBooks Online recertification for my Pro Advisor. And so what Michelle B says is write down your feelings, thoughts, results, and actions. So first of all, thoughts and feelings are kind of obvious. What is it that's causing you to feel resistance? So I was kind of feeling annoyed, maybe a little worried. I was feeling overly busy. And then, what thoughts are associated with some of those feelings? What's stopping you from doing this task? And then results, what are the good things that are going to happen if I actually did it? I'll learn some new things, that's awesome. And it won't be weighing on me anymore. And then she has you break it up into just little tiny tasks. So if I just work on it 15 minutes a day, that could be an action. Or if I just open my computer and log in, that is the first step. So just doing a little bit to stop some of these resistance items. And as much as possible, try to be really honest about where you are. Like, is this something you're gonna need outside help with getting out of this rut, or are you kind of able to do it on your own? For me this summer, I was actually having fun and I was in like kind of a good mental state for the most part. Like, I was socializing with family and friends and doing some activities, but it was just the work piece that I couldn't get motivated to do. So it wasn't necessarily my overall mood was low. So analyze that and then kind of tweak your strategy from there. My next tip to get out of a rut is get perspective. So you do hear this one a lot, but it truly, truly does help. So maybe you have an outside hobby that you can kind of like get out of your head and, you know, go do that for a while. It's kind of a distraction or like a motivation to do something else. I'll do that. I really like making family videos of my family. So I can like do a video project on my computer. So it's kind of productive, but it's like productive procrastination, but it still feels a little bit better to me than just like sitting around and doing nothing. Go on a walk. You hear this a lot. A lot of times I need to actually schedule a walk with like a neighbor friend. I'm like, okay, let's go walking tomorrow at 7 a.m. Otherwise it can be hard for me to really get out and do it on my own. Getting out in nature is always really helpful, as well as you hear this a lot, but gratefulness. I think a lot of times as business owners, there's like ups and downs as we're like in different stages of our business and maybe chasing different things. So at the beginning, maybe we're ramping up and really excited to get going, and it kind of goes up and down. But I think kind of the goal is just to stay as close as you can to that baseline happiness. And I think that just comes from appreciating like the little things in your life, you know, being as thankful as you can for like the health of your family, if your family is healthy, for the things you do have. If you have to pay a bill, like you're like, oh, at least I have money to pay that bill, or at least I'm able to get clean water into my house. Things like that really do help me if I can slow down and think about them. Don't forget to check out that free masterclass about the 3 real ways I got my first client. And I would love to know in the comments from you what you do to get out of a rut, or if any of these resonate with you. All right, thank you so much, and I will talk to you next week.